Call to order this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Mr. Lansbury.
Please pause for a moment of silence as we prepare for the meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Dr. Painter to approve the agenda.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. There's a motion to certify personnel matters.
I make a motion that we certify all discussions in closed session dealing with Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. No citizen comments. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from, this is just review. So the minutes from February are on there for review. A motion for consent agenda approval.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Dr. Painter and Mr. Painter to approve the personnel action under the consent agenda.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Ms. Sechrist, the monthly financial report.
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, you have been provided with the monthly financial report for February, where the total revenue and expenditures were $3,887,313.33. Along with that, you've been provided with the local match calculation that we did balance the treasurer's office. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
I make a motion. No, never mind.
No,
Never mind.
it's just informational.
I was an autopilot.
Do you want to?
For the meeting.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to go to 7.03, superintendent's update.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. And do you have it? But you're not streaming it out, are you? Okay. We'll post it as soon as this is done.
Superintendent's spelled wrong.
What?
Superintendent spelled wrong.
Oh my goodness, how many months have we been using it? Are you kidding me?
I finally wore my glasses.
I don't think it's been that
wrong.
Okay.
Move
Give
on.
me one second.
Move on.
Yeah. Okay. I have a short update for you this evening, and apparently I'll go back to school and learn how to spell. So tonight, we finally, I think for the first time, we get to actually talk about our COVID numbers actually going down and substantially going down. So I think there is some optimism there and hope that this will be the trend that we continue to see. Okay.
Next slide.
Can you move to the next one for me? Keep going. So this is the, you've seen this again, and look at that trend, where we are now. The line is almost barely visible, and you haven't seen that since probably last June or July when it was that low. Our next slide, the core indicator, the total number of cases, we're finally in the substantial. We've moved from high down to substantial. So then the next would be moderate and then low. So we're moving in the right direction. And you can see again, that trend has just gone down quite substantially. The number of positive PCR tests, we are in the low there. We're at 4%. And this is the VDH data. I do want to confirm for everybody, this isn't the CDC data. This is still the VDH because we've been using that all along. But that does still put us as a community in an area of substantial transmission. If you go to the next slide. But we are getting closer to that moderate, and we should, I think if the trend continues, we'll hit that pretty soon. This is what it looks like for the state. And again, I put this in there because it's been a while since we've been at a place where the whole state wasn't red. So I think it's, again, something to celebrate and some hope and continue that this trend goes down. Vaccine coverage, there's not a whole lot of change there. You'll still see there are some incremental changes, but not a whole lot across the state. We're still sitting at 81.9%, and in the county, we're at 58.2%. This, I hope, look at the bottom line. We haven't seen single digits since probably before, gosh, it would be, I think, back in the early summer. Maybe a few schools in single digits after October and November before Thanksgiving. But the next slide just gives you sort of an update of where we've come in terms of those cases. Right now, if you look, we started in January. We were at 78 active cases at the time of our board meeting. We're currently sitting at 6. 2 of those active cases will actually come off of our dashboard tomorrow morning because will be finished. Outbreaks, we currently have no outbreaks in any of our schools, and that's the first time since December the 10th. And at one point, we had as many as 39 outbreaks at one time, and that was that really tough period at the end of January, beginning of February, those 2 weeks there. And again, we currently have no students or staff at our elementary schools that are active positive cases. So that's good news for us. And these couple of charts are the ones that we've been showing you as well. And again, they just show you that decline that we're seeing. So that's your quarantines over time, and that's just for the month of March. And the next one is your positive cases, again, for the month of March. And just a couple of other updates for you this evening. Our elementary school playgrounds, we're happy to report that we have an anticipated start date of April the 18th at Springfield Elementary and Luray Elementary. And it'll take them about 2 weeks to do that work. And then they will begin at Stanley and Shenandoah. That looks to start on May 2nd. Again, a 2-week time frame. And just as a reminder, those playgrounds are being paid for through our ESSER 2 funds. So we're really excited. That picture is of Springfield, I believe, Mr. Benson. So in a couple of weeks, or maybe a month, let's go to Springfield and you can see it live and up there for the kids. So they're excited and ready and waiting. So we're hoping that all the supply chain issues have been resolved and that we can begin on the 18th. So we just want to wish good luck to the girls basketball team as they compete on Saturday at the state tournament for the third year in a row, right? But could repeat this year. So that's good news. We wish them good luck. We just wanted to give a heads up that the PCMS musical Moana Junior will be on the 18th and 19th at 7 p.m. at the auditorium at the middle school. And what every teacher is looking for right now is spring break on March the 28th through the April the 1st. So just give you a couple of dates to look ahead. But that's all I have for you in my update this evening. Be happy to take any questions you might have.
So the removal of equipment from those schools, does that
Happens
start like
simultaneously
all at the
right
same time, or?
For playground,
Yes, sir.
we've already taken care of that at Springfield.
Right.
And the other playgrounds, the other 3 elementary schools will be additions, basically. Got a little bit of work to do up at Shenandoah. But we've been hesitant to remove any more equipment with the fear that we're going to be on time with the state. But Luray Elementary School and Stanley are both additional structures.
Yeah.
Not taking in.
And then on the COVID information, I know you, a couple early meetings, you kind of went away from including that in your thing. I think Mr. Goober and I asked for that to be added back in. Are you going to continue to monitor that? Or, I mean, not present it, or?
I think that, to me, if we stay where we are, I could just give you a quicker, shorter version of that, and if you want more, I can either send it in an update or the next meeting change the format of it, but I think, let's see if the trend holds for another 2 weeks, and if it does, if you all are comfortable with that, we could certainly move in another direction.
I don't want to put extra work on,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
fine, yeah. I think let's see where they go, and if we can hold true for the next couple weeks, then I'll be more than happy to not have to talk about COVID.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nutritional services RFP, Ms. Jeffries?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I appreciate being able to be in front of you this evening. I do come with a first draft of a fresh produce RFP. Actually was previous to this meeting tonight at a meeting of the future of Page County farming for the county, and wasn't able to stay to the whole thing, but trying to encourage our local farmers to start producing some food that we can then be bringing into our school cafeterias. And that's the main purpose of this particular request for proposals. We do set aside a certain amount of our government commodity funds each year that are designated for fresh produce. But this request for proposals is specific to growing seasons found here in Virginia, in the Valley. And so we do a very formal request so that we can give preferential treatment to those local entities. So we, again, we're focusing on the growing seasons for certain items here locally within our availability of months requested. We will give some preferential treatment if the item is grown in Page County, a little less preferential treatment if it's grown within 100 miles of Page County, and a little less, but still something if it's grown within the Commonwealth. Additionally, we're going to be trying to give preferential treatment to organizations that are willing to partner with us in our educational process, whether that means trips to farms or farmers coming into our schools. We'll give some preferential treatment if there's shortened timeframes between harvest and delivery. And so, again, this is a supplemental at this point to the produce that we're getting from the government, but we would like to build this program to support those in Page County that are growing and a little further. Currently, we are purchasing from 2 local vendors, but we would like to expand that greatly. So I'm hoping that you guys can take a look through. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm willing to try to answer those for you.
Thank you. 8.01, approval of claims for payment, Ms. Seekers?
Yes, board, you've been provided with the claim certification for the total operating fund of $99,067.91. Food service expenditures, $18,749.61. Total expenditures, $117,817.52. Along with that, you've been provided the list of claims as well as the check register. And if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Can you go back to that report? Okay. I have no question. I'd like to make a motion if we would accept the claims for payment report as reported out here and presented.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to approve the claims for payment as presented.
Mr. Gubler.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Bogan.
Yes.
Yes. 8.02, approval of the paving project, IFB award, Mr. Bell.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, we're seeking approval to award contracts for paving, seal coating, and striping at 9 of our properties in the total amount of $480,895.08. That is spread across 3 different paving companies, and this is well within the allotted capital improvement funds.
Bill, what are those companies?
The 3 companies are R. Williams out of Charlottesville, Gator out of Fredericksburg, and Finley out of Bristow, all Virginia companies. Mr. Williams checked all the references, and
what was the total again?
the total is $480,895.08.
And we had budgeted, did we have a budget for that?
We have $1 million in our capital improvements. We spent around, I would say, 225,000, so we had about a little over $750,000. So this is coming in well under what we were anticipating.
It's been helpful if we have a handout with all this on it.
Okay.
Not for you to do, Dr.
I didn't tell them to prepare one, so that was me. But we'll make sure you have that information.
Well, I think it's a good point that, when we had our group meeting with the board of supervisors, that was one of the questions.
Yeah.
Are we getting the best pricing?
Yeah.
And it looks like we attended to what they said and came out that this is a positive thing for sure. Now, when they specify the specs on what's the content of the pavements, I noticed when we had it paved before, there's a lot of, what do they call it? Gapping it, or there's a crack or something in the
Oh, where you see the
pavement.
squiggly
Sealing.
lines.
Is it sealing, or what is that? In the new stuff, yeah.
They refer to it as cracks, maybe.
Yeah. Well, but I'm assuming it's because it was when it was done brand new, there were some things that looked like their sealing was done on top of it. It may have separated just a little bit.
Or it looks like snakes all over the road.
Snakes all over the road, yeah.
That's where the seal crack.
Seal, okay.
That's where the crack field is sealed on top of.
Okay.
It was not new asphalt there. It looks
Oh.
looks good.
Okay,
I understand what you're saying now, because I did not see any of that, but that, they call it gators, that's what you're talking about, what spreads out.
okay, so the stuff that we're seeing, that looks like new asphalt really isn't new. It's,
No, sir, it's not, it's for the crack field.
Crack sealed.
it's very interesting.
Now, there are parts that are new, like at Luray Elementary, when they did it this summer, there are parts of that were straight down and totally replaced with asphalt. It just depends on what the need is and the state of the current.
Okay, all right, I got you.
So
So
some of the
they're basically
schools will get
putting a
new.
new surface on it, basically. Okay, all right.
All of them vary. Yellow.
Okay,
The new asphalt will be got a 4-inch base in it.
okay. And it won't be much of a snake. Yeah. New.
Oh, it won't be at all.
No, at all. Okay, all right, perfect.
You had me wondering, because I
Yeah, 'cause-
I haven't seen any of that anywhere. New asphalt.
Okay, good deal.
And Dr. Fox, I only asked for a handout or something we could click on here because we're talking 6-digit numbers
Yeah.
and different companies and
Yeah, not a problem. What we will do for the public is we'll put this on a sheet and post it tomorrow, so that there is some information for everybody to see.
I make a motion that we approve the paving project as presented.
that's
A motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Dr. Painter to approve the paving project.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Benson, approval of overnight field trip requests.
Good evening, school board members. Tonight, we actually have 2 overnight field trip requests, one of which is for, mentioned by Dr. Fox already. The Luray High School girls basketball team is traveling to Richmond to compete in the state basketball championship. They have completed an overnight field trip request to stay Friday night, given the fact that they are playing on Saturday. So that trip does involve 15 young ladies and coaches going down, and they are going to be staying overnight in a hotel. It looks like they're going to be approximately, though, 4 students in a room for that trip. Then we have a second overnight field trip request, also from Luray High School. This is for members of the Luray High School academic team and a few other student athletes to go down and actually participate in the Virginia High School League Student Leaders Conference in Blacksburg. They have approximately 10 to 12 students that have expressed interest, so this is a VHSL activity. And they, for this conference, will be following the Montgomery County School Division Public Schools COVID guidelines for the time. And at the time of the field trip request, masks were required by Montgomery County. But they did note on the field trip request, they will, obviously follow the guidelines at the time of the trip. And students for this trip will be 3 to a room per the rooming accommodations.
And when is that date?
This date is April the 1st. Staying overnight April the 1st and through April the 2nd. So it's a one-night trip in Blacksburg. We also do want to make mention, believe it or not, spring sports have started at the high schools, and we have started to distribute spring sports schedules. And as we kind of reviewed that and looked at our own school board policy, Page County School Board policy says that spring sports schedules do not need school board approval, but we would be sharing those schedules out with you guys. If everyone's okay with that. We do have parent permission for students, which is what school board policy also asks. Pretty good with that? All right. So we would ask for your approval with the 2 overnight field trips this evening.
I make a motion that we approve the 2 overnight field trip requests presented by Mr. Benson.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Painter, second by Mr. Bugler to approve the overnight field trip requests.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Bugler?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Good luck to our teams.
Thank you. Dr. Fox, energy performance contract?
Yes, so tonight we bring to you for approval the concurrence resolution, and this is what we discussed with the county assuming refinancing and restructuring our current agreement with Johnson Controls. So after consultation with our school board attorney and reviewing all of the information, it's our recommendation that we move forward and ask for your approval tonight to allow Page County to assume, refinance, and restructure the 2015 equipment lease purchase with Johnson Controls through the approval and signing of the concurrence resolution, which Ms. Seacrest is going to read for you.
Bear with me. Concurrence resolution relating to assumption and refinancing of equipment lease. Whereas the school board of Page County, Virginia, in consultation with the Virginia Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy, entered into an energy performance contract dated January 26, 2015 with Johnson Controls under the Virginia Energy Management Program to provide energy-efficient lighting, retrofit, HVAC upgrades, building automation systems, and other energy conservation measures for its schools and facilities as set forth in the energy performance contract. And whereas JCI guaranteed the school board that the annual level of energy and operation savings to be achieved as a result of the installation and operation of the equipment and upgrades contained in the energy performance contract would be sufficient to pay for the cost of the equipment and upgrades in the period equal to or less than 15 years, and JCI tendered related performance bonds to the school board. And Whereas the school board entered into a $7,524,075 equipment lease purchase agreement, Series 2015, dated April 9, 2015, with related documents to lease finance the equipment and upgrades in the energy performance contract. And whereas the school board reasonably expects the energy performance project to continue to be essential to the functions of the school board for a period of not less than 15-year term of the JCI guarantee, and whereas all amounts currently payable by the school board under the 2015 equipment lease are subject to the receipt by the school board of sufficient appropriations from the Board of Supervisors of Page County, Virginia, as the taxing authority of the County of Page, Virginia, upon due request of the superintendent and other officer of the Page County Public School Divisions charged with the responsibility of preparing the school board's budget for each fiscal year, and the county is under no legal obligation to make any appropriation with respect thereof or thereto. And whereas in consultation with its financial advisor, the county has determined that it is desirable to undertake a financing to A, restructure, refinance, and current refund the outstanding amounts of current 2012 bond issued by the Economic Development Authority of Page County, Virginia, on behalf of the county, and a certain 2018 bond of the county to assume, refinance, and restructure the school board's 2015 equipment lease and pay cost of issuance in connection with such financing in order to reduce the state interest rates of the aforementioned financial obligations and generate substantial interest savings. And whereas Webster Bank has offered to purchase lease revenue bonds issued by the Economic Development Authority of Page County, Virginia, on behalf of the county in one or more series in an aggregated principal amount not to exceed $17,500,000 in order for the county to undertake the project. And whereas the county now desires to obtain the approval of the school board in order to assume, refinance, and restructure the school board's 2015 equipment lease as part of the project.
You need a break.
Now, therefore it be resolved by the school board of Page County, Virginia, 1, concurrence approval. Upon due consideration and to the extent necessary, the school board hereby approves and authorizes the county undertaking of the portion of the project to assume, refinance, and restructure the school board's 2015 equipment lease, and finds that such financial agreements are in the best financial interest of the county and the school board. 2, nature of obligations. Nothing in this resolution, the bonds, or any related lease documents will constitute a debt of the county or the school board. The authority shall not be obligated to make any payment under the bond or any related lease documents except from payments made by or on behalf of the county under the rental agreement. Nothing in this resolution, the bonds, or any related lease documents will constitute a pledge of the full faith of the credit of the county beyond the constitutionally permitted annual appropriation or required payment by the school board related to the assumption, refinancing, and restructuring of the school board's 2015 equipment lease. However, the county would only assume the payments under the 2015 equipment lease and would not assume any additional payments the school board may owe to JCI under the energy performance contract. The school board understands that the county will be required to make timely payments persistent to the loan for the term of the loan, regardless of any breach under the JCI guarantee and the energy performance contract or other default by JCI under the energy performance contract. The school board further understands that the county intends, subject to annual budget approval by the Board of Supervisors, to offset the annual appropriations made to the school board by the amount of annual payments the county makes on the portion of the loan relating to the county's assumption, refinancing, and restructuring of the school board 2015 equipment lease. The county intends, subject to annual budget approval by the Board of Supervisors, to appropriate to the school board the annual interest savings related to the assumption, refinancing, and restructuring of the school board 2015 equipment lease. 3, execution of documents and further actions. The chair, vice chair, and the division superintendent, any one or more of whom may act, or such officer, employees, and agents of the school board as any of them may designate, are each authorized and directed to take all such further actions and to execute and deliver any and all instruments, certificates, and other documents, if any, in order to carry out the purpose of this resolution and in furtherance of the financing of the project by the authority and county as described in this resolution for effective date. The concurrence resolution shall be effective upon its adoption. Adopted date, March 10th, 2022.
So he'd like to paraphrase.
Thank you for that, but we do, just for everybody's information, I think we should need to sum it up somehow.
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to say this is when this equipment was installed, it was under a lease that over time it would provide the school division with energy savings because it was helping us regulate temperatures in classrooms, not running systems when they didn't need to be running. The county has undertaken sort of a refinancing effort outside of anything related to us. Their what's Davenport's, what kind of agency are they? Their financial advisors have advised them to include this in their loan. They can get a better interest rate than what we're getting right now. And so they would need to assume this because right now the county finances this. We just get allotted the money each year, and essentially they're paying it anyway. So they would now just assume everything related to this. They would pay it and continue to pay it. By refinancing it, there are going to be some additional savings that we will see, and this agreement allows the county, the school board, to get that savings back. So it's just, in a sense, it's similar to if you were to refinance your home. You get a better interest rate. That's what the county is doing with some of their loans, and they're asking to include this in it. So it's a benefit for them, but it's also a benefit for us because you see some increased savings based on lower interest rates. Got a Reader's Digest version? Mm-hmm. So what we're seeking tonight is your approval of that, and then we'll ask for you all to sign this agreement, and we'll take that over to the Board of Supervisors in the county.
I make a motion to approve the energy performance contract. That's presented.
Second. A motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Gubler to approve the energy performance contract as presented.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board member discussion time?
I just want to say another shout out to the Luray girls basketball team. And then also congratulations to the Luray High School band they were awarded 2 major awards. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but for performance and then having the highest scores for X number of years. So hats off to the marching band and the instructor, Jake Schufer. Job well done.
Okay. So I guess one of the first things is fuel cost. It's since in the last 2 years, it's really went up in here the last month or so, and there's reasons for that. But I just want to make sure that how do we cover that, or how do you project that into 22 and 23 now? Because it's above inflation. I mean, we've had very large inflation.
We actually just talked about this the other day for next year, and so I'll let Ms. Seacrest, we've gone over what we normally would project in terms of the percentage. I think we doubled or tripled it to project out for next year.
Okay.
So in working with our transportation department and folks at the bus garage, we calculated how many gallons we're currently using, and we were thinking $5, and then this week it is already there. So we went back in. We had already projected to do almost a 50% increase on our fuel for maintenance and transportation for FY23. So you'll see that in some numbers on Monday. And then we went back in today and allocated some more money to that. And in the worry that may happen. Also in the hope that if we are prepared and gas prices come back down, that money is in the budget. And then every dollar not used for operations can be used for instruction. It would be better to obviously have it budgeted in there for us to use if we need it. And then if it's not, gas prices go down and we're able to use that instructionally in the classroom then.
And when so how is it stored somewhere? We have large tanks that we store the diesel?
That could probably, I don't believe so. I think our drivers use Go ahead, Timmy, you may know better than.
I believe that the 500, is that correct? Two of
Two.
them, there are 500, yeah. I believe that's it. One
Not
standing.
large amounts.
Taken.
Yeah, and did we hedge that pricing? Do we have a deal with, I mean, who do we buy it from?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we're hedging, those kind of things. That's in the full form. That's what I've 3 years I've bought plans, and now it's really paying off. And I'm going to end up paying for it once the agreement's done. But there's some things we probably need to look at if there's any possibility of doing that kind of thing. And then I want to make sure that it's the cost that we're incurring right now is not going to stop us from having summer school. It's going to affect us in a negative way right now.
No, we'll be okay. We're right now able to absorb the increase through local funds that we
Okay.
have that haven't been expended in other areas this year.
Okay.
So we'll be okay.
And we did include, Mr. Painter, transportation as part of our VDOE summer school grant. So there is money, there are funds coming in for that
So
sort of
grant
thing.
monies would cover some of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good.
Can I
And-
piggyback on what you're saying? And then obviously, I'm sure you're putting out to your staff to just be judicious about sort of non-essential use. If there's ways we can carpool and consolidate, that'd be great too, right?
Yeah, and we're working, we just had a discussion today about field trips.
Yeah.
And taking a look at where they're going, and whether or not we need to take those field trips just because of the cost now that's associated with some of those. And making sure we're equitable across the division, that we're ensuring if we are going to have field trips that each school and our students are able to take them and it's not all centralized to one school. Would you add anything?
No, some of the trips that we do are part of our parent and family engagement requirements for our preschool programs and other things. So we want to make sure that we're meeting those obligations as well. And then, like Dr. Fox alluded to, just looking at the location of different trips, the recent trips that have come in, we have students going to Winchester, Harrisonburg, those sorts of things. 2 trips going up to the park. The big trip is the FCCLA trip over to Virginia Beach at this point. So I know transportation is even looked at, instead of taking numerous vans, maybe a second bus. Diana has reported that the new buses are really fuel efficient for diesel.
Okay.
So rather than taking, multiple smaller vehicles, 2 larger buses to haul students and their projects and everything that they've got to go. So just trying to do things like Mr. Gruber alluded to, as efficient as possible, given the costs.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good because, I'm starting to change what I'm doing too after I filled up my truck the other day. So it does affect you. We've talked about discipline, and I know in your report, and as far as instructional type things, are we going to start seeing some of those things as reported out? Okay.
Yeah, and I think if there are specific things that you all would like to see, let us know. We'll also start sharing some attendance. Because now that that's settling a bit too, we can bring some of that information back to you. So certainly if there are specific instructional things, let us know, but we can, next board meeting, Mr. Benson's going to share with you the updates to the dual enrollment program with our partnership with North Fairfax Community College. And then as we start getting some of our SOL data and that growth data, we can start presenting that to you later. That'll be in June and July. We'll start sharing out the testing, all of that accountability fund stuff, because that's back on the table.
Okay, all right. And I guess we recognize a couple people, but I think Coach Lucas for Luray's is Coach of the Year, right? Which is a great honor for him, and I know he would give it back to the staff and the players. And I know Davey was All-State, I hear, today, so congratulations to him, Davey Johnson. And I think the Luray girls, I would tell them, you got a great opportunity to repeat. And don't let these opportunities pass you by, is what I would say, because we've had, I know at Page County High School, I thought we were going to have a couple softball and a couple baseball repeats, and certain things happened that didn't, COVID one of them. It's a great opportunity, so take advantage of it.
Any other discussion? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Dr. Painter to adjourn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes. Adjourn.